I see your shadow. Your shadow came before you. You're muted.
I
You're
said
not muted.
that's magic talk shadow stuff.
Stop your scrying. Dry your eyes and stop scrying like a baby. Oh, oh.
Huh?
I said, dry your eyes. Stop scrying like a baby.
Okay.
That was a magic joke. Come on, it was funny. Oh, wow.
Isn't that what they do? It looks like they're crying.
Oh, no, no. They have blowers with peppermint and they'll blow into
Really?
your eye, peppermint before, or what most actors do is they'll just keep their eyes open in a scene. I already blew it. Like they keep their eyes open and they just keep them open and force them to stay open and pretend to be listening to the other guy. And when the line is over, and hopefully by the time all that's happening, their eyes start tearing. And
Yeah.
sometimes you can see them half blink and keep themselves
Yeah.
from blinking. And then now I can pretend that I'm crying, but I'm really not because I just fucking let all the hot air in
I heard
my
they just
mouth.
put some onion juice on their finger and
There's always onion juice, but then you can't stop crying, so that's a problem.
yeah.
Like the jalapenos on my fingertips. Uh-oh.
Oh, that's
Not
not
just
bad.
for pancakes, for
Yeah.
my eyeballs too. No, but then you're probably like that's time to go to the ER when you get the jalapeno juice in your eyes.
Okay. Let's see.
Okay.
Over there.
I gotta keep them separated. Dee, nee, nee, nee. Sorry, I had to separate my little braids. I got braid happy today.
Good.
I made three of them. Then I
Boy,
didn't like the first one, so I had to do it over. Isn't this fascinating, guys?
huh?
It's fascinating conversation.
Oh, yeah.
It's always fascinating conversation with Lily.
So what's happening? What are we on about today? I had a bunch of stuff and can't remember any of it.
That always happens. I've heard sentences that I'd like to repeat and then they go away because it's just for the
Yeah.
moment. Um, but I invited Brooksie to come see us.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Brooksie's gonna come see us about 8:15. So that gives us, a
Yeah.
couple minutes to yammer. And then we can say goodnight, Brooksie, because
Yeah.
Gracie's dead. Um, yeah, and then we can get to the provocateur sent some questions.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll get to all of them, Matt, but I'll get to some of them.
Yeah.
Oh,
Um, this whole thing with Nancy Guthrie, is that the
oh,
name?
please. And the black glove and the OJ. And yeah.
Yeah, there's like I was counting the other day and there's like let's see where we're at. 1,730 storylines that have come out of it. Like the glove or the SWAT team, or now there's blood and dogs. And, they're just trotting out everything that you could possibly imagine out of every bad novel that you've ever read on a ridiculous script. How was that?
Well, the latest I heard as I was soaking in my tub was that they sent the DNA that they found at her house to a private lab in Florida. And now they're saying that there are so many different DNAs in the samples that it could take them up to a year to figure it out. Now, I'm sorry. They there are some police departments who hire psychic people and they do it
Yeah.
for a reason.
Yeah.
They don't want to end it because if they did
Oh
want to end
no,
it,
yes, that's what I was saying about the storylines. You know, I had one guy reach out to me and he goes, "Where is she?" And I don't know who this person is. And I said, well, here's the directions to where she's located. And he goes, well, I'll pass it on. And it's like, okay, now I get to be one of 17,000 other people that have called in a tip. You see what? It's like it's all just a big game, right?
Well, sure. It's funny because I happened to text you earlier a bunch of stuff about a cold case. Um,
Yeah. We can
you
look
know,
at that. You know, it
that's
beats,
because that's not pushing buttons publicly
yeah,
or
well,
anything.
it beats talking about the cold case of New York City at the moment.
19.7 inches in Central Park. Yeah.
Yeah, people don't realize that like 20, 30 years ago, it used to do that quite often, right?
It's what Jay
Now it's
Weidner
like,
says, but if 20, 30 years ago is when they started manipulating weather to like keep crowds from gathering and made monsoons and stuff. So
oh, yeah,
what's to
yeah,
stop them from using it here to make good sledding weather?
yeah. Well, it's well, in Wall Street is called sector rotation. It's kind of like you hit California with the rains, then you hit Texas or Oklahoma with the fires, and then you hit Louisiana with the storms, and then you just kind of work your way along. You're up to New York, and they'll probably rotate back around to the West Coast the next time.
It's like
To
fashion. It's like mini skirts and culottes. They go in and out of
Yeah,
style.
that's right.
It's wonderful.
Pedal pushers, not culottes.
Pedal, okay. You know,
First they were culottes, I agree. Then they were pedal pushers.
potato,
Then,
potato, baby.
huh?
Potato, potato, baby.
And then they flipped from pedal pushers. We went directly to bell bottoms. Now there's a reach.
I have low rise. No, they're not bell bottoms. What I have are flare bottoms. Like they're
Yeah.
flare like boot flare, boot cut flare, low rise. I don't know. That I like those better than just because everybody needed to know what I like better because that's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. The original bell bottoms were issued by the U.S. Navy, and we got them as surplus in
Really?
1967, 66, right? So they were cheap. That was part of the reason that people started wearing them, being hippies and without money. Share the wealth. Apparently, only Republicans do that now, or the Democrats anyway.
It's the same thing.
Yeah,
And they're
yeah.
all dumb.
And then somebody decides to go kill a respected businessman in Florida who was impinging on drug trade in the United States and becoming a direct competitor to some government entities. And so they decided to take him out. And look, we get riots. And and the leader of Mexico said it would be fascist to try to uh, kill those people, if we can say that word.
Would it
Unalived.
surprise you if I told you I have no idea what the meow you are talking about? Because I haven't watched the news.
Oh,
I've been watching
well,
snow
don't
and
go on
making caramel.
vacation. Don't go to Puerto Vallarta right now. How's that?
Okay. Oh, that's fine. I wasn't planning on it. I'm
Yeah,
over here
yeah,
making bread. I used bread flour. I put it for a second rise in the refrigerator because I didn't want to, the timing was, and then so I'm doing that and I'm making salty caramel. Like this is what
oh,
I'm doing, and you're watching this nonsense so that we've got
yeah.
something to laugh
Okay,
at.
let's skip that. And I remember what I wanted to talk about. One of
Of
the things
course.
was the war on evil. So we had the war on drugs, and then we had the war on terror. And now what you're seeing is the war on evil, and we call it the Epstein files and stuff in Mexico, and Iran's evil. So the thing about these wars is like they get to go on forever. You don't ever have to stop them. And so they bring out all the Epstein stuff and say, now we have to wage war on evil. We have to get these people, right?
And Roseanne Barr still saying,
Yeah.
I told you
And
I'm
they're
crazy.
everywhere and have been there forever. And so good luck with that, but I'm sure they'll spend a lot of money to pursue it, right? They already are. So now we have a new era of the war on evil. So welcome to the world.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Did Epstein actually get some kind of monkey genome, ape genome, and somehow crossbreed it with something to make scary things and abduct children and make them live with these scary creatures to keep them all whooped up so that he could have his adrenochrome fixed? Does he have underground tunnels where he did weird, like, experiments?
Wow. The
Is that true?
what was it? The island of Dr. Moreau or something.
Exactly. Is there some Dr. Moreau stuff going
Yeah.
on with the Epstein
And
files?
yeah, and then you had who was it? Sax Rohmer about the evil Chinese genius. What was his name? Anyway,
Stephen Ting?
the
Oh,
answer is if you can imagine what you just said, right? Then the answer is they're 12 steps above that right now. Okay. In other words, anything you can talk about in a public way represents history. It does not represent current research, right? It can't.
correct, because current research is way ahead of whatever has come to bubbled to the surface. Just
Right.
like when we got fiber optics, they were already like
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
iPhone 12.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But fiber optics was Bell Labs back in the 60s. They already had all that. And they knew what they were going to do with it. It's just that like they want to always exhaust a resource like dial telephones. They want to exhaust a Apple 16 before they go to a 17. In other words, when sales slow. And so it's kind of if you look at the evolution of the robotics that's going on the last 20 years, or let's say last 10. In the last 10, it reached a saturation point, kind of like your bread rising, where all of a sudden it's like it's there. Okay. Now, we look at that and go, well, golly, and look at what they've done the last 10 years. So if you can hear about like all the stuff that Epstein did in 2010, or let's see, when did he do these stuff? Genetics he got involved in 2004 is when it started
And
there.
was he making, I
Yeah,
never
they had
say this word, but
biolabs there. See, biolabs is the key. That's the source of all the Iranian actions and a dozen others around the world. Okay. It's we put these labs where they can't fall under US scrutiny. Okay.
right, oversight or scrutiny.
Yeah, oversight or scrutiny. I mean, the Germans have a big place in Central Africa. We have places in Australia, and I mean, how many different biolab locations we have around the world? We have like 2,000 of them. That's how
Yep.
big a research it is. So, so one of the things about the aliens, some of those people back a ways back said, well, the only currency we could ever deal with aliens would be DNA. And so, from that standpoint, then you go, well, what kind of DNA research has been done? Well, where do you want to start? But basically, the Germans were the ones that got all wound up about it. And then we imported all those people here to the United States because it wasn't just Los Alamos. That was just for the physicists. All right. But the DNA people, let's see, where did they go?
Probably several levels down.
California. They went to California. And so you had a group there. I mean, people don't realize when the Soviet Union kind of fell apart a decade or a couple of decades ago, that we literally went into Russia and hired their physicists, especially their nuclear physicists. And we moved like thousands of them to Palo Alto. And I know that because I went there and I worked with a bunch of them for a little while. And they were just basically like free to do whatever research they wanted because they were kind of like on a stipend. They were given money to just not do research for the Soviet Union. right? And what they were afraid of is all these physicists would end up going to Pakistan or Iran or somewhere like that. So they just wholesale import them, kind of like Project Paperclip, right? We do that all the time. So,
Well, of course we do, because we buy our way through whatever. But see,
right.
at what point does it stop? At what point does it become dangerous to the general public? And at what point do the narratives crisscross and do people figure it out?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, the war on evil started with Waco, okay? But it's like, well, why didn't you start with the Mormons or the or any other group, right? So, but that's the first time you had the military trying to eliminate evil. They just wanted to ignore all the schools and basements and tunnels all over the rest of the United States and not talk about them. And even now, they want to talk about Epstein, but they don't want to talk about all the facilities that were engaged in his activities.
Right, because
Okay.
then major corporations come into it
Yeah. Yeah.
because that's who does those kinds of things and who have the capacity and the space and the bandwidth to do all that shit stuff
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, that's what I explained to the guy that was asking about Nancy. I said, everybody want to focus on what happened from the moment she went away from her home. And I said, there was a month of planning that went on before that. And nobody talks about that. Like, what was the origin of the group or people involved in the whole action? And it originated out of East LA. I mean, I tracked the whole thing. Of course, nobody wants to talk about that until years later. And then, like, say, it becomes a cold case, like you said, right? Because nobody's interested anymore. And
Yeah.
that's the whole point. I really expected the Nancy thing to be over by now because they've got a big news thing coming up with well, the cartels was a surprise at some level.
What, when they
But
shut down the airports, you mean in El Paso or whatever?
yeah, they want you to be all worried about all this. And then we had a precursor of closing the El Paso airport that told you that something was going to happen in that area, meaning south of the border. And then Um, I mean, they always tell you something's coming up. So Ron, something will come up this week, next week,
Oh
whenever.
yeah, he's supposed to be attacking Iran like anytime now. Tuesday, I
Yeah,
think it's
yeah,
planned. It's on the calendar. We're going
yeah,
to Iran and we're
yeah.
going to attack them, and it's going to be
Kind of like
tremendous.
waiting for a date that never shows up.
Tremendous. Well,
But
so
boy, but
remember
we
la
can talk about it.
yeah. I'd rather talk to Brooksy. He's in the room. Should
Yeah,
we let him in?
yeah.
Last week, my friend Steven asked some question that Randy kind of liked. So I suggested he come join us for a few minutes. So
Let's
let's bring him in.
see what he has to say today. Hello.
Here's Brooksy.
Oh, there he is.
Oh,
Hello
what's
there.
going on, babe? Oh, you're on mute. You need to unmute yourself.
My first podcast. There we go.
Oh, there you go.
All
First
right. Hey,
podcast.
all right. ADLC and the magnificent Rendela.
The Randala, my Randala. Yeah. See, I share.
Yeah.
I'm nice.
So, we've been entertaining the masses, me and her, forever now. So,
Oh, I watch. I know the
yeah,
truth is out there somewhere.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And if we
Only,
can't find it, we make fun of everything else.
yeah. So there is no truth. Once you understand that, then you're free to go.
Exactly. Exactly. Nice to
Right.
finally meet you, Randy.
Well, nice to meet you too.
Yeah.
So
All
just so
right.
you know, there's no laws of physics. That's all made up, and we tend to go through them at some steady pace. And in the process develop new laws, of course, which we will supersede at some point. So,
Well, aren't laws
Yeah.
made to be broken?
well, of course,
There you go.
Well,
Yeah.
then who enforces the laws?
Yeah. Yeah. Who enforces laws of physics? That's a
Ex-
good.
Well, it's
Yeah.
Because
the lizard people, obviously.
yeah, yeah, because who has jurisdiction and all has all the what they call rule of law laid out in a way that's
It- it-
It's
comprehensible.
the
I mean,
exactly.
one of the other
interdimensional
things,
beings that made a deal for DNA.
yeah,
Right. The lizard people.
yeah, the lizard people.
Yeah.
All that is a reference to the reptilian brain. It's that
Right.
the basic nature of a human is a mammalian brain that's an overlay of a reptilian brain, meaning that the reptilian brain is actually archaic and a predecessor to the mammalian brain. And you only got to look about what goes on in the world that's being coordinated or manufactured from the reptilian brain, which is basically cold-blooded, murder.
Right. But it's also the mammalian body surrounding the lizard
Oh
brain
yeah,
that prevents us from falling out of trees when it gets cold, like the iguanas in Florida.
right. Yeah, yeah. That they always talk about what they call what is it? Divine design? Intelligent design?
Oh,
Intelligent
yes.
design. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't
It's
see much intelligence, but
I don't agree with it. There's,
yeah,
there's some
Yeah.
major correctable flaws there.
it's
You
not so
know?
much intelligence as it is designed by a committee.
Yeah, yeah. There are definite design flaws in this thing. I don't know who came up with them. It definitely wasn't NASA, those, or it could have been NASA because of
It could
the.
have been the lizard people messing with
Yeah,
us.
yeah, we're back to them again. So, I mean, they were around for a few 100 million years till the big rock hit them. So, yeah, there might
Well,
be
I
some.
have to admit, like, this is probably where I want to say something like, hey, Brooksy, remember when I made you watch that video of me where I swore that my pupils went slitty? And you said that they did, but it might have been the light. But I saw slits, like, and I wasn't sure if I was comfortable with that. What do you think about that, Randy?
Well, cats have vertical pupils
So
also.
we're gonna go feline, not lizard?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I say meow instead of the F
Um,
word when I remember.
uh, I think the female of species would be more oriented towards the felines rather than the lizards, but that's
Although
my.
my mom was always cold, always, always cold, and her acupuncturist said you and another client always suck the heat out of the room when you come here. What's that about?
They were probably related to my first wife.
Okay.
That's all I can figure out. Right.
Well,
So,
ah,
I mean,
fun
way
times.
like, ooh, right?
Fun with lizards.
Yeah, yeah. So
Well,
what's
Brooksy,
happened, Brooksy, if I can call you that?
Yeah, of course.
look what
Yeah.
I started.
You
What?
know, it's funny. I was thinking about it because I've been watching the show. Not this episode, obviously, because it's not out yet. But I'm reminded when I was a kid, my I wanted an Encyclopedia Britannica, but my parents couldn't afford it, so I got the World Book, which was almost as good.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
used to read it like from A to Z, just from the beginning to the end, and then I would start over again. And every year they had the yearbook, which
Yes. Yes.
which updated it. And I remember a yearbook, I think it was 68 or 69. And even then, when I was a little kid, I was interested in physics and so on. And there's a cartoon in there that to this day I think about. And it was really, it was genius. And I don't remember exactly the details, but it's roughly this. It's a drawing of two men and a large black rectangle on a white wall. And it says something like 1850, scientists don't know what the world is made of. And then they draw a line through it and they said 1921, they discovered the triangle. Now we know the basic building blocks of the universe. And then it's 1950, they draw another line. We discovered the semi triangle. now we know the building blocks of the universe. And it eventually gets to 1969, and it's this endless
Yeah,
puzzle work of lines. And they go, we've discovered the hemi, demi, semi something triangle. We have no idea what the world is made of. And
exactly.
I've always been profoundly influenced by that cartoon.
Well, it's true. It's if we start backwards from the CERN collider, what you're dealing with is Planck's scale of matter, from the largest to the smallest. And every time they get down to a smaller unit, they get all excited. Look, we discovered the smallest unit of matter that makes up the universe. I went ahead and developed a scale because I got to looking at that, and like the Higgs boson is like a negative 34 something out of 36 on the Planck scale. And it's like every time you observe new energetic interactions, you can come up with a new particle. So you can go from muons to quarks to the whole family. And but at 36, you run out of matter. And at that point, I created the VEITENHEIMER scale, where from 36 to 72, we take it back up and show increasing energy field density. And when you do that, you can start accounting for a whole lot of things, gravity, all that will never show up on a particle scale. So, so when I looked at that, I said the same thing. There, like Eric Weinsteiner come up with a geometric
Yeah.
model of the universe.
Yes.
Like, so what, right? It'd be like me doing hopscotch down the sidewalk. It's like, and how did I change the universe or dimensionally interact by going one, two, three, blah, one, two,
Right.
the whole thing. So I think it's hilarious that people uh, have found a religion, scientism, and that they have found their what do you call them? Saviors? No, that's Trump. Wait a minute. They're prophets. There we go. And so Weinstein becomes a prophet of the geometric. You just go down a list of all of them.
Yeah. I've seen lectures of Eric Weinstein, and my eyes glaze over after about 10
Yeah,
minutes, and I go,
yeah,
well, okay, if you're right, great, but I don't understand it.
yeah.
Uh,
Well, it's real simple. There is no such thing as sacred geometry,
mm,
right? Because the first thing you do is go, what makes it sacred? And
right,
well, they said it was, and since I'm a prophet, you're supposed to believe that,
right.
right? And if you don't believe it, send money anyway. That's what it amounts to me.
Well,
So,
there is a certain amount of that, and certainly in academia in general, and physics particularly, that making the safe bet, the safe incremental change to a theory gets you grant money and gets you
right.
published, and it doesn't really help anything.
Yeah. I have interacted with some of those people, a lot of academia actually, over the years, and it didn't turn out well for them.
Well, the
So,
guy, Dr. Sam Parnia, he works at UCLA down at Langone, whatever, and he's in research and he's trying to figure out what's going on with the brain energetically when people die, and he's getting funded. And I kept telling him it has to do with consciousness and energy bodies, not just the physical body. He said if I start talking like that, I'll get my grants pulled.
yeah,
I said, so then why bother? If you're not going to look at it properly, then
right.
what are you just like jerking around? Like, what are you doing?
Well, but
Tell me.
it's still a job. He's got a mortgage and maybe
Yeah,
kids,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
he's got to produce. And so,
Yeah,
that sometimes that's the compromise people make.
yeah, bought and paid for.
All right.
Yeah, one of the great things that I've been researching for 50 years is nobody ever defines life force. They talk about the different, weak forces, nuclear, electric, magnetism, gravity. And then you go, well, there's a whole lot of people on this freaking planet and animals and things that are alive, and we have no knowledge of what that is that they feed off of because it's not food and air, although those are important. So nobody's ever defined that, and I finally placed it at 70 on my scale. So it's something of very, very high energy, and I haven't defined it out yet. I've been working on it, but that gives you an example, right? That those fields contain energy and information, and ultimately, um, what they call collapse into matter. There you go. And so, if we collapse the life force all the way down in matter, we end up with the fountain of youth. Imagine that. Right. And why is the energy different in young people than it is in old people? And what's missing? And and the other part of that is there's no such thing as consciousness as far as the human body's concerned. It's all a field effect. That's what I've come up with. So, uh,
Well,
now,
it relates to something that I experience, and I know a lot of other creative people experience. I oftentimes get asked, where did you come up with that idea for the movie?
Hey,
And usually I'll say, I didn't.
hey.
yeah,
I tapped into that idea somewhere else. I mean, there have been three instances where I've actually had a movie come to me complete,
yeah,
and I just
Mhm.
spent 2 weeks transcribing it,
right.
you know.
Yeah,
And
that's one of the things that Tesla and who else? Tesla and somebody else. They would keep a notebook by their bed. I do
mm,
the same. And like Tesla, 1899 or whatever, middle of the night, woke kind of like, oh, and drew out the dynamos that are at
mm,
Niagara Falls. They're
mm,
still there, they still work, and he drew it complete. In other
mhm.
words, it was a complete download, we call it.
Yeah.
People say, well, how do you come up with that? Well, I went to where that knowledge is. That's what, like I tell people, you don't come up with ideas, you go to where that is. How do you get there? Drugs, alcohol, peyote, deep sleep, meditation, music. In other words, whatever way transports you, you know?
Or some people just have an inclination for it. They don't
Yeah,
need any enhancement.
yeah,
It just sort of happens.
yeah. Well, I call that an affinity bond.
Mm,
In other words, I'm pre-programmed to go look for, say, movie ideas because I do movies,
all right.
or I do like Liane does music, let's say. And so music comes to her. And then we go. And my question always was, where is that?
Mm,
Like
Up
in
there.
high school, somebody was daydreaming one day and I poked them and I go, hey, hey. And they went, what? And I go, where were you? And
mm,
they go, I was daydreaming. And I go, I know that, but where was
mm,
that? Because I want to go there too.
mm.
So to me, movies is going into somebody else's daydream or
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
whatever you want
Yeah.
to
Which
call
is a mistake sometimes, but
it. Yeah, yeah. I mean, some movies maybe shouldn't have been made.
that's a whole other podcast.
Yeah.
Let's try not to do that, huh, Brooksy?
No, let's
Yeah.
be kind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And,
It's hard enough to make a movie, even a bad movie. So
yeah. We can admire the attempt. How's that?
yes, there you go.
Production values. There we
Right.
go. So,
I'm not trying to put you on the spot. Did you have any other questions for Randall?
No, nothing's popping into mind. Well, okay, yes. It's not really a question. It's just sort of the thing I had the kind of things I think about when before I fall asleep. And last night I was thinking about the sort of the necessary granular nature of space-time for quantum gravity to work and whether or not I started thinking that because that's incompatible with relativity because it's smooth space-time and that somehow the superposition granular space-time is a substrate under the smooth space-time that it emerges. I've
Yeah.
always kind of thought that space-time itself is emergent, it's not fundamental.
Yes. One of the things to keep in mind, remember how they keep finding smaller parts,
All right.
Mm.
right? Planck scale. What makes you think that there isn't subquantum,
Hmm.
you know, subquantum space, we'll call it? And then we go quantum, and then go, well, how about subquantum? And in other words, like it's the old question of like, well, it emerged. Well, where did it emerge from?
Right.
And and then the other aspect of it is they do this thing where they say, well, it's where we get the manifestation crap about I observe the universe or something. And but they never tell you like, well, shouldn't we have super observers? Shouldn't we have people that are um, more capable of initiating whatever the hell that is?
Those are the people enforcing the laws of nature.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Self-appointed, right? They need a badge.
Right.
Right.
Actually, I mean, I had another thought about how our sort of our limits of that there are limits of what we can find out about the universe. And I think it occurred to me the other day, it's built into the universe because as humans, if we found out how the universe really worked, we would mess it up. Just like that we've cut down all the forests and we've polluted all the oceans, we would go into space time and go, you know, I have an idea for how we can make space time better. And then boom, the whole thing blows up.
Right.
Right, because they'll try
Yeah.
to monetize it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. The problem becomes the way we used to put it was the finite affecting or interacting with the infinite.
Right.
And so what happens is the limitations of your own consciousness prevents you from accepting, interacting, or playing with what I call the fields of the Lord. How's
Mm.
that for language? Right? You can go there and play, and now whether or not you can develop any what I call it, protocols or systems to deal with that. Um, I mean, Asimov approached it in his Foundation series.
I love those books.
Yeah.
Have you seen the Apple
Elon
series?
was too.
The Apple did a series that's
Yeah.
almost completely not based on the books.
Yes. When I first saw the series they developed, I recognized the need for capital punishment
Yeah.
and felt like that there should not be any delay to prevent
Yeah.
those people from
Yeah.
doing season
Wow.
two or
Because
three
yeah,
and
because
then become, I was
the books were
bound up.
brilliant. The books
Yeah,
were brilliant. I love those books.
yeah, yeah, because they laid out the whole program, or he did.
Right.
And we've been following it. It's the advancement of society is in a deteriorating or in what they call it, entropy. It's
Right.
an entropic function going on now. And the faster the technology develops, the faster the entropic
Right.
effect. So,
Well, also the this concept of psychohistory, which
yes,
I always interpreted to be psychological history or psychotic history, depending on how
right.
you look at it.
I favor the psychotic because I tend to
Because
lean.
you're an optimist like I am, of course.
Yeah. Is it really the only way to relate to the universe is psychotically because it
Yes.
represents symmetry, right, in
Yeah.
physics. So,
Right.
um, I mean, you cannot look at current activities and the people that run the different countries in the world and not come to the conclusion that chaos is the primary function of the universe. So, right? Insanity close behind and stupidity somewhere way up the scale. So,
But stupidity is an emergent
yeah,
quality.
yeah.
It's not fundamental.
Some people maybe start with a
Yes, but I
head
think the
start on,
chaos is fundamental and the
yeah,
stupidity is emergent.
yeah, yeah. I love it. It's what I tell Liane, it's all a great show. It's the reason God or Godzilla invented popcorn. I mean, You gotta just sit back and watch every once in a while.
Well, speaking of great shows, they're rebooting the X-Files. Did you see that?
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm
yeah.
scared. Like not much scares me, but that's just what I'm scared for. I'm scared for the collective mind of Hollywood. I think just they've lost it.
Well, also, well, yes, everything is a reboot and a remake and so on. But I think the fundamental problem with rebooting the X-Files is Stephen Greer is going to disclose everything next week, and then they have
there's
nothing to
no
talk
show.
about.
No, I have direct interactions of a previous mission person just then, and over the years, and the basic rule is this: there is no such thing as a UFO. Nobody has ever produced one. Nobody has ever put one where it could be studied by a common population, let's call it. Nobody has ever produced an alien except something out of science fiction. Science fiction has covered all of the storylines we see related to UFOs and everything. Um, on Gaia, one time, one of the guys asked me, he's like, "Well, what's going on with this?" And I said, "That came out of a book written it was the Blue Avians." I said, "That book was written in like 1959. I can remember the cover. I called a friend of mine who is also a science fiction nut from 8 years old. And he goes, yeah, I remember the book too. And he goes, let me see if I have it." Now, somebody took that storyline and just reintroduced it,
Hmm.
right, in the form of good old Corey and different ones. And so that's how we end up with the blue chicken cult. So it makes you wonder what happened with the Mormons and a few other groups like that out there in the world.
I prefer the Blue Oyster Cult personally, but that's
Yeah.
okay.
So I agree that originality is much more entertaining than whatever they're doing as a reboot, you know. It was one of the things about the X-Files is that they did consider Native American myth. They did
Hmm.
consider,
Hmm.
Southern folklore. They did, those were all good stories
Hmm.
because mostly they're ignored, you know.
Yeah.
Ask your grandparents, they'll tell you all kinds of stories about everything from, witches in the night to, blah, blah, blah,
Well,
right?
not my grandparents. They were running away from Cossacks, but
Yeah,
From where?
mine
From
too.
where?
they're running away from Cossacks.
Yeah,
Oh,
Their
escaping,
villages were being
pillaged.
burned to the ground. So
are they from
they
Prussia?
didn't Ukraine, Poland, Eastern Europe.
Yeah, my family left Prussia, which was Odessa at that time,
Mm,
Right.
and right by the Russian Revolution. Yeah,
Well, my grandfather did pass through Odessa, which was Russia at the time,
yeah.
but he was born in Ukraine.
right.
Hmm.
And my grandfather was lived in a town somewhere between Minsk and Pinsk. No joke. Sometimes it was Poland, sometimes it was Russia.
Well,
And
Yeah,
his
yes.
family had some money, so my great grandfather escorted him and his little sister to the UK, put them on a boat, and sent them to here because he had a bad habit of reading democratic literature to the illiterate peasants. And so my great grandfather didn't think he'd do so hot there. So he sent him away where he wouldn't get killed for being himself.
yeah, for being intelligent.
Yeah.
Being
Yeah,
Well, but
discourteous.
it's not the Curtis, it's the other side. It's the
Oh, it's the other side.
Rubenstein. It's the
Oh, okay.
Rubenstein.
Well, there
And
you go.
he's the
yeah,
guy who came over here, opened a luncheonette, and said you could sell shit for perfume in this country and no one knows the difference. Like, so we've always been stupid here for whatever reason at that, like just not
yeah.
aware.
Yeah, I'd like to see more original stories as opposed to reboots. Um,
But that's risk. See, the problem is the movie and TV business has always been risk averse.
yeah,
And the old formulas of having movie stars in or TV stars doesn't work anymore.
right.
And they don't know what to do. So they're just the safe bet is let's take something from the 80s that was a hit and remake it and update it and
Yeah. Yeah. And rinse and repeat movies.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's awful. Well,
You can't shock people anymore. That's illegal. No more Blazing Saddles
Well,
or
well,
things.
no. And unfortunately, real life events have become so shocking that if any one of them was put into a fictional work, nobody would buy
we
it.
believe it.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Reality has overtaken fiction.
Yeah. I mean, they would make a movie where Donald Trump got elected president.
Well, they did. It was called Idiocracy.
Yeah. Yeah. How far can you stretch the imagination of the American public, right?
Right.
Oh, that's too funny.
Oh man. Ouch,
So,
my balls. That hurt.
yeah, I don't think that movie would be green lighted at any level. I mean,
No.
Leanne and I came up with one. We wanted to do a remake. We were going to call it Melania Escapes Mar-a-Lago, right?
Escape
Kind of
from
like,
Mar-a-Lago, starring Liane.
Escape from Mar-a-Lago instead of Escape from New York or LA,
Yeah.
right?
Right. There you go. Well, John Carpenter's still alive. I'm sure he'd be up for that.
Yeah, and we
You
could
might, you
bring
never know.
Snake back, and
There's a big
it
comeback.
could be a good movie. We come up with all kinds of movies and these shows. We get to thinking about it. So,
Yep. We're like a think tank, a two-headed think tank, right? It's fun.
yep, yep.
Wow. Well, Brooksy, is there anything else you want to say before we kick you off? And I
No.
Anyway, good
I,
to see you.
yeah. I don't get to answer any of the questions from Matt.
Oh,
Oh
you want
yeah,
to answer a
yeah,
question?
yeah. Let's see. Let's
Come
see.
on, let
Look
me
at
answer a
you.
Matt question.
Yeah, let's see what he
Way to
has.
Let's
put
just
me on the spot. Look, I could just
it's
continue to
it's
be
probably
arrogant.
I mean, it may be too early. I can go away and come back.
No, no, no.
No.
Let's hear one of the questions. I want to hear
Okay,
what.
I'm just gonna say something because when Jack was little, and Tim would carry her around and she would try to clarify and say, no blue, no blue. Like, and we didn't know what the meow she was talking about, but whatever. Anyway, so it's funny because Matt, his first question, it's alleged that blue light from computer and phone screens makes us stupid. Why does it do that? And why doesn't that happen with the blue sky?
Want me to jump in?
Go ahead. Yeah,
No blue.
It doesn't make you stupid.
yeah.
But what it does do, and actually blue sky, actually cloudy skies can do this as well. The reason yellow and amber tinted sunglasses make the world seem clearer when it's cloudy outside is because the
Blue block.
the skylight is very, very blue under cloudy conditions. And blue light being at the edge of the spectrum does not focus on the retina with the other colors. It focuses, I believe, just like a tiny bit behind the retina. Like a camera lens has a whole series of lenses to correct for that. The human eye doesn't. So
Right,
that's why if you're staring at a screen with a great deal of blue, you get eye fatigue because the eye is trying to focus the blue and the other colors at the same time.
right.
So it doesn't make you stupid, it just makes you tired.
Yeah. Yeah, and the micro movements of the muscles, the cilia at the back of the eye, and the muscles that control it, that constant back and forth trying to refocus it
Right.
causes the
Right.
tiredness on the optic nerve.
Right.
So
Same thing happens with 3D movies when the
yeah,
eye's trying to focus in front and behind the screen, but the image is still on the screen. That's why you get eye fatigue with 3D movies.
right.
All right.
So
All right,
and
you can kick me off now. I answered a
yeah,
question.
and
Oh, now you
tell
feel better? You feel better?
I do. I do. I
and
feel
tell Matt the
important.
sky isn't blue. The sky is a reflection of the water around the earth.
Right.
Well, there we go.
Well, yes, but it's still blue light. It is
Yeah,
blue light.
yeah. Reflected, not direct. There's a
Correct.
difference there. Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, what's the next one,
Second
Leanne?
question,
Very
it's
good.
sticking with the color blue. He says, remember during all the wildfires over the past 5 years where everything was burnt to ashes except blue mailboxes, houses with blue roofs, and some blue cars were also untouched. Does mailbox blue nullify the effect of green space lasers that burned everything down? Pew, pew, pew. Pew,
Randy,
Yeah. The Go ahead, Brooksy, let's hear
I think
pew.
blue signifies where the lizard people live.
it.
They're immune.
Having been around everybody from Oprah to whatever in my life, I tend to agree with
Yeah.
that.
So I think that's my speculation. I have no proof.
Yeah. It's laser light is very interesting. You can either get reflection or absorption. Um, I built the third laser that exists in the United States when I was 11 years old and 12. And I got disqualified because I spent too much money, but mine was portable and battery powered. And they kind of freaked out about that. So,
Did all the cats in the neighborhood come over and chase the pointer?
oh yeah, no, we would put a like a red balloon. We were using a red laser,
No.
ruby laser, inside of a clear one or a white one, and we
Hmm.
would pulse it and blow up the internal balloon, but not the outside one, right? And so we were sitting there blowing up balloons and doing that. Um, so we made an impulse using the old Graflex flashes that used to be
Yes.
on big old Graflex.
Yeah.
So we took those light tubes and surrounded them and around a ruby crystal
Hmm.
and were able to generate that impulse.
Hmm.
I didn't occur to me at the time to generate a continuous beam, but anyway,
You were only 11, so
yeah.
it's okay.
You get a
But
pass.
Yeah.
so the answer to the question is either reflection or absorption, depending on the filter you use, just like on the camera when you filter scenes. So there.
Well, since you started talking about the where that went, I'm going to go to question 5. Why does nobody talk of using the moonlight for energy? Because the sunlight is hot and the moon seems to be a type of, and he's making assumptions here, cold plasma and then brackets if that's true. But say if somebody melted green glass made of lightning strikes in the sand, ground that glass down and polished it into magnifying glasses or mirrors and bounced that light off of them for miles, would we have free light at night?
No.
Yes, but very, very little.
Yeah.
It
The
wouldn't be worth the effort.
yeah, the energy density of it's the same problem. Direct direct light or reflected light.
Right.
So in direct sunlight, you can burn up a leaf or whatever just by focusing the energy. And in indirect light, you're going to have a hell of a time trying to create a fire or whatever with it. So, so there.
Okay. Is it true what they tell us is, quote, the dark side of the moon? Is that really just the other side of Antarctica? That that
Yeah,
makes my head want to explode.
yeah, no.
I don't
I mean,
know.
it's just like the alien and UFO thing. Uh, uh, We have so many satellites and things. China does whatever orbiting the moon. You will never get a complete set of pictures of the dark side of the moon, right? You get pictures. We have the same thing. We have like mapping satellites around Mars. You don't get to see it, okay? You're too sensitive. Your brain wouldn't handle it. And the reason I know that because let's see, 1970, 71 or 72, I had a friend that did photo data interpretation. In other words, he would do stereoscopic data interpretation of photos that were taken by like U-2s and things like that over Russia because they were identifying all these sites. And then one day I was in his office and he gets a call from, it wasn't even NASA, it was some other agency, we'll say. And they wanted him to come to DC because they had a bunch of photos of Mars. They wanted him to go over and make sure that there were no anomalies that would be present for other people to look at. How's that?
Hmm.
In other words, scratch out anything that doesn't, that offends the human mind, we'll say,
Right.
right? Now, that was 60 years ago or whatever, 50 years ago, 30, 25, 50, somewhere in there. So, so the answer is no. Antarctica and the backside of the moon don't have any correlation.
So, hey, Matt, thanks for letting Christina ask a question. Ah,
The
there's a question from her. We,
moon?
we see the aurora borealis quite a bit now for how far south Massachusetts is, especially over the past 5 years. What's happening to cause this, as we would only hear of them happening once every 5 or 10 years at most? Is it a pole shift, solar events, or something different?
Brooksie, what do you say?
All right. It's I mean, we're in a solar cycle of, you know,
Solar madness.
sort of a high energy solar cycle, and we're getting a lot of coronal mass ejections, and that energy is, allowing the aurora to be seen at lower latitudes.
I call it the curtains going up on the final show.
That's much more poetic, but
Wonderful.
yes.
In other words, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah.
One one mass coronal ejection like the Carrington event and huddled
Oh
up
yeah,
Stone Age, right?
we're in trouble. Yes. I mean
Yeah,
that set wheat fields on fire.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
That
how and
event. Yeah.
how realistic is it that that could actually happen again here soon?
Well, soon, I don't know, but almost 100% chance it will happen at some point.
Yeah, one of the things that happened with the what was the movie about the big chill came down, superstorm.
Oh yeah, where the ice came
Um,
down and they all had to escape.
oh, the day after tomorrow.
Yeah,
Was
the
it the
day
day
after.
after?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was actually true. What happens is that you get certain conditions that create like a little
Mm.
cyclone that drops that cold air all the way down to the surface of the earth. Normally, you never get that, but there's been history recorded instances of it. And then there was a place in not Rockwall, but a town near Texas, and they were rocking along, and one day the temperature hit like 140. It's like the sun's energy somehow had created a hole in our ionosphere to allow that direct energy to hit the ground. And for like 2 or 3 days, the temperature was like boiling, you know.
So everything really is bigger in Texas.
Huh?
Everything really is bigger in Texas, even the temperature.
Yeah. I've been there where it snowed one day and 100 degrees the next. So, yeah, welcome to Oklahoma is what I usually call
Wow.
it. So, yeah.
All right. Here's another question. If mirrors are portals, what is happening when we are using mirrors and bouncing high energy lasers off of them? Does it travel to any extent to the other side of that portal?
Brooksy, you got a question?
I have no idea.
It's
They look like
the
two
the
Hollywood
question.
squares and an engine.
Yeah, the question. It's like, what's my line? Um, the question is, what is reflecting, and where is it reflecting at? And so we could say, well, the silver lining or whatever is what's doing the reflecting, but the actual event occurs somewhere other than at the surface of that mirror. It occurs actually out before it. And then we go, well, where is out before it? And that gets into some strange calculations on dimensions or energy intersections, whatever you want to call it. So when it
Well,
reflects off the
that's like
mirror,
similar to, we touch a solid object and we
yeah,
think we're touching it. We're actually not. We're feeling the
oh,
repulsion of the
right,
object. There's actually no physical contact
yeah,
that we,
it's
in the
like
sense that we
pushing two
think of.
magnets together.
Right.
But where they reject is not where they touch.
Right.
It's some other point. And that kind of space kind of led me to think about what we would call subquantum physics.
Hmm.
It doesn't occur in any area that we have currently studied, but maybe should take a look at. So,
Well, if everybody could stop looking at the Epstein files and talking about aliens, maybe they could figure that out, put their attention on something coherent. Chop, chop, people. The hell?
I love it. It's maximum distraction, right? I think whoever invented the Epstein files were also the people who were the writing room for Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh
Hey
yeah.
now.
So should I I could start
Hey now. I
with
knew
my
Toby. I worked with Toby.
Did it? It's
yeah.
Oh
like,
yeah, he
yeah,
gave me my first writing job.
all right.
Oh
Well,
yeah, I was good friends with Toby, and
yeah, it's this isn't shocking. Watch this.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Too funny.
So, since we keep revolving around Epstein, question number 9 is a little disturting, as my middle kid wrote. He got his D's and his B's mixed up once, and he put a sign on his door that said, "Do not disturb." This is the one who like got the scholarship and the PhD stipend too. He's super smart. 4.5 GPA and a student athlete. Do not disturb. Okay. Um, is there a large amount of black magic with a CK and blood rituals taking place in areas like Antarctica, North Dakota, more brackets, the real home of harp? Do they think they're appeasing an entity who says it will destroy things if they don't do what it says? And how pervasive has this entity gotten? And he's saying, think Michael Aquino, Army and Navy intelligence.
I don't
What do
know.
Circle gets a square. Brooksy
you-
gets a 0.
Um,
That sounds like it's more of a Randy question.
yeah, let me I kind of break this apart. Repeat it, please.
Okay. Is there a large amount of black magic and blood rituals?
Okay, wait a minute. Okay. White magic, black magic, red magic.
Right. We talked
Okay.
about that once.
Right. So white magic is a use of basically the intellect and consciousness to override other situations or things going on, people, places, things. Black magic is an intent to do so in a way that is not necessarily beneficial to the other person, place, or thing. Red magic is blood magic, and that gets all into what's that place out in California? Grove, something or other, Grove, yeah. Uh, Yale University, and we leave all those out. So anyway, those are the
The
three common,
Grove, the mall. Is that what happens at the Grove?
yeah.
Blood
And
ritual.
so what happens is if you
At the Nordstrom or or
yeah.
next door at the farmers market. I don't know. I'm not eating there again. I can tell you that if that's what's going on.
So all of them are projections of consciousness. There we go. Okay. It's just the manner and intent behind it, and then the ritualization of those procedures. And so we have those in the Catholic Church and everything else. There's just rituals that they're performing, and they're doing it in an organized manner with an organized or with a definite outcome. There we go. In mind. Huh.
Mhm.
Okay. What was the rest of it?
Well, okay, which would so are is the outcome, does it have anything to do with appeasing an entity who
No,
threatens to
well, like, when we say, like, I'm Randy, that does not exist in any kind of physical form. Okay. Although it may have, let's see if I can get this right. Um, it may have location density somewhere, time, space, quantum, subquantum, somewhere. Nobody, I've not explored it enough, even though I keep looking at it. So wherever we are, other than, and we're not in our body and all that other crap, is also like a location where there are other things that are not necessarily human. So we could say there's tree things out there and animal things. And so we get animalistic religions out of that. And then, of course, we get demon religions and the jinn religions and things that people are visited by things that go bump in the night there. And the thing about that, almost all of them occur at nighttime. So what I came up with is that when you're asleep, you're no longer human. You're cast out into that area where other things exist and interactions occur. Now, those other things can have different energy densities, just like Trump has more money than, say, we do. Okay. As an example. So we could say that the information density for these things that are built up, kind of like if you worship Moloch or Trump or any of the other avatars out there, then that location and that energy density can be attached to or interrogated or interacted with, and we call those imaginary friends, right? When we're kids, but they have much greater uh, impact depending on who all and what all you've done with them. So if you made, like, all our religions are sacrificial in nature, so is our politics. But if you look at, like, you're sacrificing blood magic ritual to a entity, that entity literally grows stronger. And we know that because of Ghostbuster movies. So there.
Okay.
Right. What's the other part? Another part?
Well, the other part was something about our blood rituals taking place in places like Ant areas like Antarctica, North Dakota, and he says that that's the real home of HARP, HAARP, HARP.
Well, they have come a long way since HARP. HARP was originally developed by Bell Labs when in 1957 when they looked at developing ionic skip phase radio signals to bounce a signal off of the ionosphere and be able to achieve communication that wasn't line of sight. Okay. So when they figured out they could do that, which is equivalent of sending a signal against a mirror, in this case a cloud,
Mm-hmm.
and then have it reflect back. But then they got excited because they realized they could heat up the cloud with the same energy. And that's where HARP came from. And then the advanced ones are down in the Antarctic. And if you want to know the way the world is, forget aliens. How come nobody can go there? How come you can't uh, fly a plane over it? How come 7 or 8 nations said, okay, this is ours and you can't come here? And it's enforced by military. So there.
Because
So you
lizard
don't have to
people,
go to the moon. You just go to Antarctica. So,
are my eyes slitty?
yeah. And don't look at the blue light. So when you get there. Right?
Okay, here, I guess it's,
Did that cover it?
I think we're pretty well done. Like, I don't know. We asked Christina's question. I can't talk. My mouth. Um, the last thing he makes a comment about Gaia TV. I also unsubscribed from Gaia a while ago because maybe not for the same reasons. He saw a large amount of disinformation operations taking place, but also um, they try to get people to start accepting a certain narrative. So he felt like it was an agenda created by the same people Vlad kicked out of Russia. And what Mr. T needs to do here. They were easing it into people's lives, and he wasn't okay with that. And he's asking if we're seeing the same thing.
Well, you just have to ask yourself whether daytime soap operas have deteriorated human consciousness to any greater degree than Gaia and some of the others over the years, or NBC, ABC, and CBS. How's that?
All right. Well, Brooksy, let's not do that with our project, okay? Let's
We're going to elevate
Yeah,
uplift
consciousness.
and
always
elevate.
elevate, uplift. We say
Yes,
uplift.
uplift.
Uplifting. It's an
Yeah.
uplifting story
It
about a
is.
woman's
Well,
love for spiders and plants.
no, she has quite a transformation by the end. You didn't read the end of the script, did you?
I only
You
read the
Matt,
spiders line.
Madison's transformation at the end. Did you miss that part?
She
That's
turns
the
into
whole
a big
point.
spider. Like this is why I'm practicing with my Medusa hair so I can have more
is
than
this
8 legs. We're
is
gonna
this
put
Feed Me Seymour ending?
No,
no
no, you're gonna dig the ending, Randy. Trust
Yeah.
me. It's a really
Angela.
interesting ending.
He may
It's
have
an
read the
interesting
script.
ending.
He read the
Yeah.
ending.
Yeah, let's get the writer's room going where we can, convolute this thing.
I don't work with other writers.
Uh-oh. Okay. Now,
To me, being in a writer's room, like on a TV show, would be
what a
my worst
nightmare.
nightmare. Yeah.
Yeah, you can see the results. Just watch Foundation series on Apple
I
TV.
I hate watch it because I just like to yell at the TV about how
Yeah.
badly they've botched it.
Oh God, it's I was jumping up and down and screaming. I called my girlfriend and blah 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 blah. I said capital punishment is the only
Yeah.
choice because
Well,
there
this is
wasn't
how Randy gets his
try to
cortisol.
recruit. I don't usually get excited, but I was so mad about that, and I wonder what Elon thinks because he's basing this whole thing on robotics, which is
Yeah.
Prelude Foundation.
Right.
And then he's basing all his space flight and all that other kind. It's all right there in that book, right?
Yeah.
So the series of books. So anyway,
Everybody go read the book. Don't get lazy and watch the hate.
yeah,
Don't be hate watching.
yeah,
It's not good for you.
yeah,
Good for your health.
yeah.
Okay.
Perversion exists even in movies. So there we go. Not just Epstein does not have a lock on it, right?
Yeah, he thinks he's special. Well,
Yeah.
and the worst part of it all is that he's not even in charge. There's somebody else above him. So
Oh yeah, yeah. Uh, Offending the public good, I think, should be a new charge, right?
anybody who walks their dog in the snow and defiles it to yellow and brown should be charged,
Ah,
I
well,
think.
New York City.
Oh, Liane, you're so arrogant. You were arrogant a couple times. Hello, beautiful.
There you go.
All right.
Well,
Goodbye.
this is highly entertaining. I'm pleased to meet you, Brooks.
Yes. Good to meet you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll all see
I
each other
do
on the
think I do
set.
think I do think you missed your calling though. You should have been on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. And we've got tonight's guest, the magnificent Randala. And you'd come out with one of those like a turban and you'd tell the
Oh
future,
yeah. Yeah.
find missing pets.
Yeah.
Cormac,
I
you
do
can
that.
sit down.
Right.
I have actually found missing pets
I'm sure you have.
and missing
But you could
children.
have done it on national TV.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't it disrupts their narrative and storylines that they create out of it. So they're
Yeah.
not really true interested in the truth.
That's why they're not
And they,
calling him about Nancy Guthrie, because they don't
yeah,
want, like, they don't want to solve it. If they did, they'd be calling psychics.
yeah. Advertising sells. There we go.
All right, go to the Waffle House because you'll love it.
You'll love it.
Goodbye.
Okay. Bye,
I'm not
guys.
having jalapeno pancakes. I can tell you that.
Oh, yes,
I
you
Oh,
are.
those are
refuse.
I'm
I
gonna
good.
make a
Those are
refuse.
good.
craft service.
I
Better have
refuse.
them. Craft
Yes.
service,
That's a bridge too far for me.
egg salad sandwiches, and
And
jalapeno pancakes.
take your own butter and take your own real maple
Well,
syrup.
I do use real maple syrup. My father instilled that in me many. My father used to shop at a health food store in San Jose when no one had ever heard of a health food store.
Right.
And we had like whole wheat bread when no one had heard of whole wheat bread and real maple syrup.
Wasn't that just north of downtown?
Uh, it was in Valley Fair Shopping Center in San Jose, or is it Santa Clara? It's
Yeah. I,
off of Stevens
I used
Creek.
to run around all that area. So
Oh, that's where I grew up, near the Winchester Mystery House.
I grew up around Monterey and Carmel.
Oh, okay.
So we would go to
Oh,
the city and see what's going on. Okay,
well,
guys. I had great fun. See you
Yes,
later.
that was fun.
More questions, right? All right.
see
Good
ya.
night.
Good night.
Bye.
Oh my goodness.
Are you still recording?